Hi everyone, this is Katie and welcome to my channel. So, today we are going to be using colored pencils. I got some new colored pencils. It's the Kalour 120 set. And I wanted them because I've never had that many colors of colored pencils. And they were affordable. So, came with this thing to swatch all the colors, which I already did. So yeah, I'm excited to get using them. And it just so happened that I recently saw a YouTube video by Jess Karp, who is someone I think is awesome, and I love her art, so go check her channel out. But I saw her sketching portraits using her colored pencils this week. And as I watched that, I thought, I kind of want to do that. So, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some sketching. So I got this toned gray paper that I've had for a long time and kind of haven't been using. So I thought this would be the perfect paper to use. So, let's get started. Okay, so that's my cat being Godzilla again. There are two types of colored pencils. One that are wax based and one that are oil based. And the main difference is the hardness of the pencil and the way they blend. The pencils that are wax based, such as Prismacolor pencils, blend, they're really smooth, they're really soft, and you can blend them together. In my experience, you cannot layer as many times color over color with Prismacolor because it gets very waxy and then it doesn't want to take any more layers. So, these pencils are my first experience with any oil-based pencils, which, to my understanding, these Kalour colored pencils are oil-based with a little bit of wax, so they're kind of like a mixture. And I have used mostly wax-based, I've used only wax-based pencils before. So I used these and I felt like I could definitely 100% tell the difference in the amount of layers I could put on the page. Which I think is cool because you kind of need to do that with colored pencils. Just put small layers over layer over layer to get that more saturated color that you want. So, another example of oil-based colored pencils are the Faber-Castell Polychromos. Those are like the most popular ones that I've heard of anyway. And they're quite expensive, which is why I did not buy them. But maybe someday. These Kalour colored pencils I bought on Amazon. They were $27.99. And it was a 135 set, I believe. And it came with a bag. I took them out of the bag and put them in the little folder thing that I already had, because I wanted to use the bag for my Tombow markers so I could because I take them out in my purse every day, so I kind of needed something more portable for them. So anyway, that's what I did, but it was a really nice bag that they came in. And I chose two portraits today for this video. The first one is this girl, and for her skin I chose just a light color, base color to put all over, and I put one layer down of that, and then I started going in looking for the shadows and picking darker colors and just lightly putting in the shadows and mapping out where highlights and shadows might be. And then I just kept going in layer after layer to make the color deeper. This reference photo had some really good lighting, especially on the right side. So that was kind of interesting to put down. And I did colored pencil portraits many years ago. I thought that's what I wanted my main focus of art to be for a brief time, so I was doing that. And eventually I just felt like it was not what I wanted, because it does take a long time, just because you have to slowly build up the color. And I felt like I wanted to see what else there was out there that was a little faster, and that's when I started painting. And I got pretty heavy into oil painting for a long time, which I still love to use oil paints, especially for landscapes. But I have branched out into other paints now, and I use gouache paint quite a lot. And I've started experimenting with portraits using gouache paint, which I definitely like doing that. And the thing I'm learning about skin tones is there's so many more colors in skin than you think there is. There's a lot of purple and blue and gray tones, and there can be yellow tones and red tones, all depending on the lighting. I did like using these pencils, and I'm glad that I got them, and I felt like they are good for their price. I have seen a couple YouTubers say the Kalour pencils and the I know I said that wrong. Brutfuner pencils are the same pencil, just branded differently. So if you're looking at pencils and you see those two different brands, just know that many people have said they are the exact same pencil. But yeah, I had a good experience with them, and I will be using them more in the future. And I originally set out to do these as kind of quick sketches, but as I was using the pencils, I just kept rendering and going further, and it kind of more as a finished, ended up as a finished portrait than just a sketch. So maybe I need to work on that, because I really did just want to do it like as sketching and get a bunch done quickly, but I got hung up on the details. But that's okay. I like how they turned out. The struggle for me this time, I got a new camera and light setup that hooks onto the table but then goes up and over to record my video. And I was finding it hard not to stick my head in there. I even had to edit the video and cut a few times out because all you can see is the back of my head. So especially when I'm doing the details in the eyes and the lips, it's really hard not to want to get my face up close to the paper. And then here I think I'm using the colorless blender just to kind of blend the colors together finely at the end and make the color a little deeper. And I liked how that turned out and what that did for her hair especially. And using the white looks so good, especially on this toned gray paper, because you can really see it pop out there. I did use my acrylic paint marker for the highlights here at the end. And I feel like just a few highlights makes a really big difference. Alright, we are on to portrait number 2, which I decided to, since I just did a girl, I need to do a guy this time. And as I first sketched him out, I end up really realizing his head is leaning way too much and he looks uncomfortable. So I had to fix that. I am using the Loomis method for drawing this head, which is something that I actually just recently learned existed. There's a few different methods, and I don't know what the first method that I learned is called, but it was slightly different than this one. After seeing this one, I decided to try it and realized that with my brain, this one makes more sense. So I feel like I'm having more success drawing this way because you draw the first circle and then you draw another circle inside that circle to represent the side of the head, and so you can kind of see how the head is 3D that way, and it makes more sense to me of where to place the eyes based off of where the side of the head is. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube about the Loomis method of drawing heads. So if you are curious, go ahead and look that up. It's quite helpful. And then I'm just trying to lighten up my sketch a little bit so you don't see as much of it through my colored pencils. I sketch really heavy-handed, so I always tell myself to draw lightly, but it's very hard, so it doesn't usually happen. So I'm doing the same thing, just picking the lightest color and putting that down first, and then going in with slightly darker colors, picking out the shadows and mapping out the face. I would say that each of these took me at least an hour, probably more than an hour for the second one, which is definitely longer than I thought a couple quick sketches were going to be. But that doesn't mean they weren't enjoyable to do, so. And I do like how they turned out, so. This paper is good for colored pencils because it's toned, so it's like a mid-tone, so the light colors are going to show up more on this paper than they would on a white paper, like especially like white, because white doesn't even show up on the white paper, but it will show up on this paper, so it is easier to get those strong looking highlights using the toned paper. So you can see I had to cut out when I put the first eye color in for him because I was just showing you my hair, and I had very messy hair that day, so you can see some of it sticking up in the bottom of the screen. In some ways, I do think that I enjoyed using these pencils more than the waxier pencils that I've used before because of the layers that you can get. How many times you can put color on top of color before the paper won't take anymore. And they're not as soft and blendy as the wax pencils, but they still blend, so I don't feel you're losing really much of anything. Because these pencils are a mixture of oil and wax, they kind of did not lose that soft feel that the wax pencils have. And I did not experience a bunch of breakage with the leads. In some of the reviews on Amazon, there was people saying the leads break super easy. I didn't have that experience except with one brown pencil, which may just mean that particular pencil, the lead inside broke. And maybe I dropped it or something, I'm not sure, but as far as having that problem repeatedly with multiple pencils, I did not have that. Alright, here they are finished. I did add some highlights here in the eyes and on the lips of the guy. I forgot to record that part, so I just put this clip in. Thanks for checking out my video, and I will see everyone next week.